What if I told you something? What if I told you you could go through the day without getting angry, frustrated, or resentful at anyone? What if I told you the people who trigger you would no longer have any power over your emotions? Most people believe anger is a natural response to difficult people. When someone cuts you off in traffic, when your boss is unfair, when someone is disrespectful, they think anger is inevitable. But that's not the truth. The truth is, others don't control your emotional reactions. You do. When you understand the logic of emotional regulation and apply the techniques I'll teach, no one can shake you emotionally. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete system for achieving emotional control in every situation. You'll understand why most people are constantly triggered, and you'll learn how to break free from this cycle step by step. Let's get started. Part 1. 3 major traps that cause you to be reactive caution. It's not the situation that makes you angry. It's not the person who makes you angry. It's the trap you fall into in your own mind. And there are 3 emotional traps that poison most people's lives. 1. The personalization trap. Taking everything personally. When someone cuts you off in traffic, they did it to me. When your coworker replies late, they're ignoring me. When your friend cancels your plans, they don't value my time. This trap makes you a victim of others' behavior. You feel constantly attacked. But the truth is, 99% of people don't do what they do with you in mind. They're preoccupied with their own problems, their own time, and their own moods. When you fall into the personalization trap, you surrender your emotional control to others. 2. The expectation trap. When you have rigid expectations about how people should behave, you expect them to be on time. You expect them to be respectful. You expect them to think like you. And when those expectations aren't met, you get angry. But people don't behave by your rules. They behave according to their own values, stress levels, culture, and mood. When you let go of expectations, frustration disappears. 3. The control trap. Believing you can change others with your emotional reactions. If I get angry, they'll understand. If I show my disappointment, they'll change. But human psychology doesn't work that way. Anger doesn't teach. Anger doesn't motivate. On the contrary, it makes the other person more resilient. The truth is, you can't control anyone. The only thing you can control is your own reaction. When these 3 traps combine, your emotional well-being becomes completely dependent on others. Your mood changes based on their behavior. But those who appear determined, calm, collected, and in control, no matter what, these people have learned to completely avoid these traps. They don't take anything personally. They don't have rigid expectations. And they've completely given up trying to control others. You can do the same. It's the process of giving up trying to change others and reclaiming your own emotional power. True freedom begins here. Part 2. The pause protocol. Choosing instead of reacting. The most powerful and simple method for preventing emotional hijacking is the pause protocol. It's your first line of defense against reactive behavior. Its core principle is simple. There's a gap between the stimulus and your response, and this gap is your power to choose how to respond. This choice is critical to your growth and freedom. Most people react automatically. They defend themselves when faced with criticism, honk when cut off in traffic, and immediately object when faced with a disagreement. These automatic reactions trap them in emotional cycles and leave them under the control of others. The pause protocol breaks this pattern and creates a gap between stimulus and response. In this gap, the power is in your hands. You can reconnect with your values and goals and respond with wisdom. The pause protocol consists of 3 levels: the breath pause, the physical pause, and the time pause. Level 1, breathing pause. Take 3 deep, slow breaths as soon as you feel an emotional activation. This not only promotes relaxation, but also breaks the connection between the trigger and the automatic response. Focus entirely on your breath. Feel the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then exiting. This conscious focus prevents your mind from creating narratives about the events and focuses you on the present moment. Level 2, physical pause. If 3 breaths aren't enough, take a physical pause. This could be excusing yourself from a conversation, taking a walk, or changing your position. When you notice your anger rising, you can say something like, "Let me take a short break and come back to this conversation." A physical pause prevents you from becoming defensive and reactive. On the contrary, it's a sign of strength. Level 3, time pause. In more intense or complex situations, you can give yourself time to reflect for hours, even days. This prevents you from making bad decisions while emotionally active. You might ask the other person, "Can we continue tomorrow so we can handle this correctly?" Pausing over time allows your reactions to focus on clarity rather than reactivity. The key to making the pause protocol effective is getting used to it beforehand. Practice with small setbacks. Use your pause reflex when you're stuck in traffic, checking out at the store, or receiving a slightly annoying email. By practicing in small moments, pausing becomes automatic for larger provocations. You rewire your brain to prioritize conscious choices over automatic reactions. During a pause, you don't suppress your emotions. On the contrary, you acknowledge them. Saying, "I'm aware that I'm angry or frustrated right now," validates your emotional state. In the process, you gain experience without losing the ability to choose how to react. Pausing also allows you to remember your values. Instead of trying to justify your anger by trying to justify it, you can prioritize what's truly important. Your reactions are no longer aligned with your current emotions, but with who you want to be. The pause protocol takes you out of reaction cycles, allows you to make conscious choices, and restores your emotional freedom. Part 3. The Reframing Revolution. Changing your inner story. How you interpret what happens to you determines how you feel about it. 2 people can experience the same event and have completely different emotional reactions. Therefore, reframing is one of the most powerful tools for emotional control. When you change your inner story, you also change your emotional responses to events. Most people unconsciously tell themselves stories. When their phone goes unanswered, a coworker presents their own ideas as their own, or their spouse forgets something, they immediately construct a negative story. While these stories may seem like truth, they are actually interpretations and can be changed. You can gain control over your emotional state by consciously choosing a more empowering story. Choose a story that empowers you over one that hurts you, a story that empowers you over one that victimizes you, and a story that opens opportunities over one that closes off possibilities. Reframing with examples. Your boss criticizes a project. Your initial story might be, "He wants to make me look bad." This creates anger and frustration. But you can reframe the situation. Stories like, "It helps me improve my skills," or "This project's high standards are important to the company's success," evoke feelings of gratitude, motivation, and respect. Someone cuts you off while driving. Your initial narrative might be selfish and careless. Alternative framing. They might be facing an emergency or unaware of their mistakes. This reduces anger and stress, allowing you to respond with understanding. The key to effective reframing is finding stories that are both believable and empowering. Stories don't have to be true. They should be credible and make you more resourceful. Reframing techniques. Ignorance. Reframing. Assume that people behave badly, not out of selfishness or malice, but simply because they don't know a better way. This builds compassion. Pain reframing. Instead of assuming that difficult people are trying to hurt you, assume they are hurting you too. Hurtful people can hurt others. This allows you to respond with empathy. Learning to reframing. Instead of viewing difficult situations as problems or attacks, view them as opportunities. Every frustrating situation is an opportunity to improve your ability to remain calm and manage your emotions. Temporary reframing. View difficult behavior as a temporary condition, not a permanent characteristic. Everyone has bad days. Developmental reframing. Instead of viewing criticism as a character attack, view it as an opportunity for self-improvement. Reframing takes practice because your brain is wired to automatically interpret ambiguous situations negatively. However, with conscious effort, you can train your brain to seek out alternative, empowering stories. The goal isn't to excuse harmful behavior, but to maintain emotional balance and respond most effectively. When you master reframing, you realize that most events that happen to you are neither inherently good nor bad. They are often neutral. You choose to interpret them. This awareness is incredibly liberating. Instead of being at the mercy of circumstances, you have the power to choose a story that serves you. Chapter 4. The Detachment System. Emotional Independence. The ultimate goal of emotional control is not just managing your immediate reactions, but also developing a profound emotional independence. This means that your emotional state is determined solely by your own choices and values. You are not controlled by the behavior of others or external circumstances. Most people are emotionally dependent on others. Their mood and self-esteem depend on external validation. This dependence makes them vulnerable to all kinds of situations and gives them immense power. Emotional independence is not about remaining indifferent, cold, or apathetic to what is happening around them. It's about developing an inner stability that allows you to remain unwavering while caring deeply. The key is to distinguish between what is within your control and what is not. You cannot control the behavior of others, but you can control your response to them. You cannot change external circumstances, but you can control your attitude toward them. You cannot change what happens to you, but you can control what you do. This understanding gives rise to what I call the detachment system. Independence does not mean ignoring consequences or relationships. It means not tying your emotional well-being to things you cannot control. You value your work and relationships, but your happiness is not dependent on the behavior of others. The first principle of the independent system: emotional self-sufficiency. Meeting your own needs without depending on others. If you seek approval, you validate yourself. If you need security, you create it through your own actions and mindset. If you need love, you love yourself unconditionally. Most people meet these needs from external sources, leaving them vulnerable to disappointment and manipulation. When you are emotionally self-sufficient, your relationships become healthier and more enjoyable. The second principle: outcome independence. When you achieve your goals, you don't attach your emotional state to outcomes. People may treat you with respect, or your projects may be successful, but you don't need these things to feel good about yourself. This approach is especially effective when dealing with difficult people. Outcome independence prevents you from being manipulated by their behavior. Instead of getting angry at someone who is being rude, you can maintain your inner peace. The third principle: identity independence. Who you are isn't defined by external roles or achievements. You may be a leader, but that's not who you are. It's what you do. You may be successful, but your core identity remains the same. This distinction allows you to maintain your true self without becoming defensive in the face of criticism and challenges. The fourth principle: boundary mastery. Emotional independence requires clear boundaries between yourself and others. You separate your own feelings from those of others and don't take responsibility for solving others' problems. This allows you to empathize with and support others, but you don't lose your emotional balance. The fifth principle: present moment awareness. You focus on the present moment instead of dwelling on past pain or future anxieties. Emotional reactions often stem from the stories your mind creates. Focusing on what's really happening in the moment makes situations manageable and prevents unnecessary anger and stress. Developing emotional independence takes time and practice. It fundamentally changes how you connect with your emotions, your relationships, and your environment. The freedom it provides is extraordinary. The behavior of others may disappoint you, but it doesn't destroy you. External circumstances may challenge you, but they don't control you. You maintain your inner peace despite the chaos around you. Part 5. The 4 personality types that trigger everyone. Not all difficult people are created equal. Some people constantly trigger your emotional responses, and each requires a different approach. Understanding these 4 basic archetypes will help you avoid being caught off guard in difficult situations. 1. The aggressive and dominant type. These individuals use intimidation, loudness, interruptions, and hostile body language when things don't go their way. Examples include a boss who yells when things don't go their way, an angry driver who honks, or a family member who dominates the conversation. Your natural reaction is to either respond or withdraw. Either option gives the dominant person what they want. Strategy: don't fall for their game. Speak calmly, quietly, and slowly. Make eye contact, but don't cross your arms defensively. Reiterate with simple, logical statements. This prevents emotional contagion and lowers arousal levels. 2. Passive-aggressive manipulator. They express their anger and frustration through sarcasm, silence, deliberate inefficiency, or subtle sabotage. A coworker who pretends to help but then forgets, or someone who constantly pulls pranks on you and irritates you might be an example. Strategy: radical transparency and clear boundaries. Address the behavior directly and apply consistent consequences. Don't respond to their manipulation with emotional reactions. This only reinforces the behavior. 3. Emotional vampire. They constantly complain, dramatize, and drain the energy of those around them. A family member or co-worker who turns every meeting into their own crisis is an example. Strategy: maintain a compassionate distance. Set time limits instead of trying to solve their problems. Limit your suggestions and direct the conversation. Don't absorb their negative energy. Maintain your emotional boundaries. 4. Narcissistic attention seeker. They need to be the center of attention. They interrupt others, exaggerate their accomplishments, and can become hostile when they don't receive attention. People who constantly post dramatic messages on social media are examples of this. Strategy: remain strategically disengaged. Don't compete or try to correct their stories. Offer a brief, polite thank you, then redirect your attention. In group settings, redirecting energy is an opportunity to demonstrate your leadership. Understanding these 4 archetypes helps you understand that difficult behaviors are not personal. Aggressive dominants have learned to control. Passive aggressives have learned to communicate indirectly. Emotional vampires have learned to get attention through drama. And narcissists have learned to seek attention and approval. These behaviors aren't about you. They are coping mechanisms. Key point: when you understand the underlying pattern, you respond to the pattern, not the person. This keeps you calm and strategic, preventing you from becoming emotional and reactive. Chapter 6: Deciphering Social Intelligence. Reading beyond words. Most people judge communication solely by words. However, real communication goes beyond words. People often give clues about how they say something rather than what they say. Body language, tone of voice, facial expressions, eye contact, and even energy levels reveal much more than words. Learning to read these subtle signals gives you tremendous power in social situations. Now you can see beyond superficial conversations and understand what the other person is truly feeling. Level 1: Reading emotions. You can tell when someone is angry, anxious, or sad, regardless of their words. Stress can manifest as muscle tension in the shoulders and jaw. Anxious people may fidget with their hands, touch their hair, or be constantly preoccupied with an object. Angry people, even when they try to appear calm, leave signs of tension around their eyes and mouth. By noticing these physical cues, you can adjust your approach in a timely manner. For example, if you notice someone getting nervous in a meeting, you can slow your voice, pause, or shift to a calmer tone. This will prevent conflict from arising and make people feel more comfortable around you. Level 2: Understanding personality-based behavioral patterns. Every person's communication style is different. Introverts need time to think before responding. When speaking with them, you should give them space to think without pressuring them. Extroverts, on the other hand, think quickly and speak loudly. Don't take their quick reactions personally. Similarly, some people are detail-oriented and want to understand every detail, while others focus on general, concise information. Adapting your approach to the other person's personality style makes your communication more effective. Level 3. Power dynamics and social hierarchies. Every social interaction involves some element of status and power. People signal their status through their posture, eye contact, tone of voice, and distance. High-status individuals generally speak with confidence, use open body language, and take up more physical space. They may interrupt more frequently and expect to be heard. Lower-status individuals tend to be more reserved, avoid eye contact, and speak in a more reserved tone. Recognizing these dynamics can guide you in social situations. When speaking with a higher status person, remaining calm and confident without belittling yourself is strategic. And when speaking with a lower status person, making them feel comfortable is crucial. Level 4. Identifying deception and inconsistencies. Sometimes people don't fully express their feelings. Their words, body language, or tone of voice may be inconsistent. For example, their facial expressions may be tense when saying "I'm fine," or their body language may be resistant when saying "I agree." Recognizing these inconsistencies can help you understand the other person's true feelings. However, don't be overly confrontational. Instead, ask open-ended questions that encourage self-expression. How do you really feel about this? Or, is there anything else you'd like to share? This allows people to confidently express their feelings. Level 5. Understanding cultural and contextual differences. Communication styles vary by culture, generation, and context. What appears friendly and natural in one setting may appear overly formal or rude in another. Therefore, you should consider the context and background to avoid misjudging others. Developing cultural sensitivity prevents misunderstandings and makes social interactions more productive. Social intelligence and emotional regulation. True social intelligence isn't just about understanding others. It's also about managing your own emotions. When you detect manipulation, distrust, or negative intentions in others, you can remain strategic and calm instead of becoming emotionally involved. This allows you to build more effective and healthy social relationships. Social intelligence isn't used to gain power, but to create better interactions. In summary, developing social intelligence begins with understanding the depths of human behavior. Learning about elements such as body language, personality, power dynamics, consistency, and cultural awareness allows you to behave both effectively and confidently in social settings. By understanding others' true intentions and needs, you can manage your emotional reactions and strengthen your communication. Chapter 7. Conflict Transformation. Turning conflict into an opportunity in relationships. Conflict is inevitable in human relationships. We all experience disagreements from time to time. However, suffering from conflict is entirely optional. Most people view conflict as a battle to be won or lost. This perspective often leads to hurt feelings and damage to relationships. The conflict transformation method reframes conflict not as a battle, but as an opportunity for deeper understanding and personal growth. Traditional conflict resolution focuses on finding superficial solutions and compromises, but conflict transformation goes much deeper. Most conflicts aren't about the obvious issues people argue about. The real issues relate to basic needs, values, fears, and past experiences. For example, two co-workers might argue over project deadlines. However, the underlying conflict stems from a lack of respect, autonomy, or fear of failure. When a romantic couple fights over household chores, the real issue might be feeling valued and supported. When a parent and their teenager argue over a curfew, the conflict stems from a need for independence and security. Principle 1. Shifting from positions to interests. Positions are what people say, "I want you home by 10 o'clock," or "I need a promotion this year." Interests, on the other hand, are the fundamental needs and concerns that drive these positions. Safety, respect, recognition, and autonomy. When you focus on interests instead of positions, you can see that most conflicts aren't actually caused by conflict. For example, a parent wants their child to be safe, while a child wants to be reliable and independent. In this case, it's possible to find creative solutions that meet the needs of both parties. Principle 2. Emotional validation. Before problem solving, most people approach conflict by looking for immediate solutions. However, when a person feels angry, resentful, or misunderstood, rational problem-solving skills are impaired. Emotional validation is needed to engage in productive dialogue. Emotional validation doesn't mean approving their behavior. It means showing that you understand and acknowledge their feelings. For example, "I can see you're really upset about this. You feel like you're not being listened to. I understand that this is really important to you." Acknowledgement reduces defensive reactions and makes the other party more open to hearing your perspective. Principle 3. Collaborative exploration. The traditional approach to conflict creates a win-lose dynamic in which one party is right and the other is wrong. In collaborative exploration, you view the conflict as a shared puzzle. Instead of blaming the other party, you seek solutions together. Sample questions. Can we explore some alternatives together? How can we handle this differently from now on? This approach manages the process with questions that encourage exploration rather than defensiveness. Principle 4. Taking responsibility for your contribution to the conflict. Conflicts involve at least two people. Even if the other party is at fault, taking responsibility for yourself is critical for redirecting energy and creating a constructive atmosphere. This doesn't mean apologizing or withdrawing your boundaries. This means acknowledging your contribution to the interaction. I realize I didn't communicate my expectations clearly. My tone may have been perceived as condescending. I should have said that sooner. This approach encourages the other party to take responsibility. Principle 5. Focus on the future, not past grievances. Most conflicts become deadlocked by repeatedly bringing up past events. Conflict transformation focuses on preventing similar problems from arising in the future, rather than assigning blame. Sample questions. How can we handle this differently from now on? What needs to change so that we both feel good about this? This approach eliminates blame-based arguments and promotes a constructive and productive resolution process. Managing your own emotions. Conflict transformation also requires regulating your own emotions. While it's natural to become defensive in the face of criticism or anger, staying centered, curious, and open is crucial. You can apply the calm and reframing techniques you learned in previous chapters here. Chapter 8. Energy Management. The hidden engine of your emotional strength. Your emotional strength isn't just a matter of character, as you might think. People who can stay calm in difficult situations have a special secret: energy management. Because your emotional state isn't solely shaped by what happens to you. It's shaped by your physical energy, mental clarity, stress level, and lifestyle. Most people view their emotional reactions as a mental skill, as if they can be resolved solely by willpower. Yet, your brain invests a great deal of energy in emotional regulation. When your energy levels drop, the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for rational decision-making and impulse control, is the first to shut down. That's why we argue more easily when we're tired. We become more aggressive when we're hungry. Even the smallest things can trigger us when we're sleep deprived. In other words, it's not the person you're angry with, but your energy reserves that are depleted. 1. Physical energy, the foundation of emotional strength. The first layer of energy management is physical, and if this layer is weak, the other layers collapse. Sleep, nutrition, exercise. Yes, everyone seems to know, but no one takes it seriously. However, emotional resilience, mental clarity, and the ability to remain calm in the face of stress are directly linked to physical energy. Lack of sleep equals emotional detachment. When you sleep poorly, the emotional center called the amygdala becomes oversensitive. So, even if there's no real threat, you perceive it as if there is. At the same time, your prefrontal cortex slows down. So, the following combination occurs. Emotions are overactive, low logic, low response threshold. This automatically makes you more vulnerable, more reactive, and more intolerant. Therefore, quality sleep isn't a luxury. It's a powerhouse of your emotional intelligence. Manage your sleep environment. The room should be cool. It should be dark. It should be quiet. Avoid screens before bed. Go to bed and wake up at the same time. If thoughts are racing through your mind, put a notebook next to your bed, write them down, and let them flow. This method reduces stress in your brain. 2. Blood sugar balance, an invisible emotional trigger. When your blood sugar drops, your body releases stress hormones. This is why you become more aggressive when you're hungry. This is why your patience diminishes when you haven't eaten for a long time. This is why some people experience nervous hunger. A balanced diet is the foundation of emotional balance. Protein, healthy fat, complex carbohydrates, regular meals. These reduce energy fluctuations and make you feel calmer. Caffeine and sugar, on the other hand, provide a short-term burst of energy, but then lead to a crash. During this crash, emotional regulation becomes much more difficult. 3. Emotional energy. The baggage you're carrying is draining you. Just like physical energy, emotional energy has its limits, and most people deplete this reserve without even realizing it. The biggest energy drainers are unfinished conversations, unresolved arguments, carrying that little bit of tension you experienced in the morning throughout the day, replaying the phrase, "I wish I had said something," over and over in your head, ruminating over past events. If your mind is constantly replaying an event, your energy reserves are depleted. By the time you get home, you're no longer patient with anyone. Emotional release technique. Take 2 minutes for yourself after every difficult interaction. Calmly review what happened. Accept your feelings. I'm disappointed with that conversation. Consciously choose to let go. I did the best I could. I'll handle it better next time. This little practice is like throwing away your emotional energy. 4. Attention management. Where your mind focuses, energy flows. Your attention is limited, and what you fill your mind with becomes your emotional reality. If you fill your day with news, social media drama, complaints, gossip, crises, negative thoughts, your body releases hormones accordingly. The result? Anxiety, anger, restlessness. Instead, consciously choose your mind. Make time for yourself, not for Instagram, early in the morning. Read an inspiring article. Take a quiet coffee break. Consciously remove yourself from negative stimuli. Refocus your attention repeatedly throughout the day. What you put into your mind becomes your emotions. 5. Manage your environment. Your emotional thermostat. Messy, noisy, and chaotic environments create stress without you even realizing it. Similarly, people who drain your energy reduce your ability to regulate your emotions. Assess your surroundings. Clear your desk. Organize your living space. Reduce noise pollution. Stay away from people who drain your energy. Ask yourself, does my environment calm or stimulate me?